Lección 1.1 Nouns and Articles. Hoy hablamos de los sustantivos y los artículos en español. Hay muchas cosas importantes que vamos a hablar en esta lección. Estamos en la página 12 del libro. Vamos a hablar de 12, 13, 14 y 15 en este video. Primero vamos a ver sustantivos. El hombre, el chico, el pasajero, el conductor, el profesor, el turista. Y acá sustantivos femeninos: la mujer, la chica, la pasajera, la conductora, la profesora, la turista. Bien. As in English, nouns refer to people, places, and things. This is important because when we talk about nouns, it's not something that's completely new to you. The different thing between English and Spanish is that every noun, it doesn't matter if it's a person, place, or thing, has gender in Spanish. That doesn't mean that the object or the place is a masculine thing or a masculine place or feminine. It just means that the spelling of the word and the word itself has gender, which is needed for grammar and for spelling and for putting things together and making things agree and making longer sentences. So again, you can't look at an object like let's look at a table and say, oh, that's such a strong table, it must be masculine. No, you have to look at the word itself that means table, which is mesa, M-E-S-A, mesa, and look at the spelling and say, okay, is there something about the spelling of this word that would let me know if this is going to be a masculine noun or a feminine noun? So you look at, that's what we're going to learn today. Is there something that you can look at with the spelling to know if you're going to say el mesa or la mesa? Okay, so let's just jump right in. If the noun refers to a living thing, the good news is you can tell because of the noun that you're using if the noun is masculine or feminine. So hombre, its meaning is man, so you know it's a masculine noun. Okay, obviously because it's a living thing. So this begins to affect what you do in Spanish immediately, because to say the man, you either have to use el or la. So you have two words that mean the, el and la. With a masculine noun you use el, and with a feminine noun you use la. In all of the vocabulary lists and all of the vocabulary lessons, you're going to see the words, the nouns listed with el or la, so that you learn as you go if the word is a noun that's masculine or a noun that's feminine. It's most important to learn them together. Instead of learning hombre is man, learn that el hombre is the man, la mujer is the woman. Okay, so again, here's some others: el chico, el pasajero, and already beginning to get into these spelling things. Nouns that end in O tend to be masculine. Nouns that end in A tend to be feminine. So the girl, la chica. Okay, and you put an A on the word passenger, la pasajera, and it's feminine. Okay, this ending, OR, referring to a person, conductor, profesor. You know that that person is a male driver, like of a bus or a taxi, and then profesor would be a male teacher. And then over here you add an A, so ORA is female now, la conductora, la profesora. Okay, and then ista, if a noun ends in ista, referring to a person, you just change el or la depending on if it's a man or a woman, tourist in this example. Okay, let's see, that's what we just talked about. So here's another example of OR, so profesor, that one's up there in the list. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit more. Okay, so again, some words are exactly the same if it's a man or a woman, but you just change the article. If it's a youth or a young person that's a female, you say la joven, And if it's a man, that's a young man, el joven. La estudiante, el estudiante. Okay? Now let's go on to page 13. Now non-living things. Okay, so these are just objects. So you can't look at the object itself and determine masculine or feminine like you can looking at a man or a woman. You have to look at the actual spelling of the word to help you figure out, is it going to be el or is it going to be la? Okay? So one of the things I mentioned on the previous page, if it ends in o, it tends to be masculine. So it's going to be el cuaderno, el diario, el diccionario, el número, el video. And then if it ends in a, it's going to tend to be feminine. La computadora, la cosa, la escuela, la maleta, la palabra. Okay, a few other endings that will help you. If a noun ends in ma, like problema or programa, it's going to be masculine. So there's already an exception. So if they end in a, they tend to be feminine, but if they end in ma, they're masculine. Okay? And then nouns that end in sion. We have a lot of these words in English that end in tion or even sion. In Spanish, they end in cion, and there's always an accent mark on that o. So if you see that ending on a noun, you know it's going to be feminine. La lección, la conversación, la comunicación. If they end in s, masculine, el autobús, el país, they tend to be, right? And then if they end in dad, which in English they end in ity, that's the equivalent. La nacionalidad, la comunidad, and there's lots of words that end in this ending, so they're going to be feminine. Okay? It's very important to learn, again, to learn el or la along with the noun because of the exceptions, like the ma words that are masculine. Also, a lot of pa words, nouns, are masculine. So it ends in a, so you think, oh, that's feminine. But pa words tend to be masculine. So el mapa, el dia, okay? And then here's hand, which is mano and ends in o, but it's feminine, la mano. Okay, to make nouns plural, like in English, you add an s. It is almost just that simple. If the noun ends in a vowel, add s. Chico, chicos, diario, diarios, okay? If it ends in a consonant, you have to add es. So, nacionalidad, nacionalidades. País, países. And then if it ends in a z, which there aren't a whole lot of nouns, but you'll come across it, that ends in z, you change the z to a c and then add es because it's a consonant. So, lápiz, lápices. Okay? What else you notice right here? It goes from el chico to los chicos. El diario to los diarios. La nacionalidad to las nacionalidades. So already this is affecting the agreement. So you have to know it's feminine so that when you make it plural, you know to make it las, the nationalities. So really there's 4 words that mean the. They are el and la, which we've looked at, and then the plural form of the is los and las. So to know which word for the you have to know if it's feminine or masculine, and then you look at, is it singular or plural, okay? They have a quick note here about an accent. If the singular noun has an accent mark and you make it plural, it tends to drop the accent mark. So la lección, that has an accent mark here, when you make it plural, las lecciones, no accent mark. Okay, and then use the masculine plural form to refer to a group that includes both males and females. So if you have a group of students and it's 3 male students and even 10 female students, you're still going to use, you're going to say los estudiantes instead of las estudiantes. Okay, let's go on to page 14, página 14. Okay, so now we're going to talk about articles. This isn't like an article you read in a newspaper. The articles, we have them in English too, as a quick review. In English, we have the articles the, a definite article to say the book or the person or the cup or the notebook. We also have indefinite articles just to refer to a. So a phone, a shoe, a tape, a chair, anything like that, okay? Or an example, right? If the noun starts with a vowel, we always use an in English. So it has both definite and indefinite. So the ones we looked at to say the, which were el, la, los, and las, are your definite articles. We're going to look at the indefinite ones so that you can say a book instead of the book, or a man instead of the man. Okay? So here are the definite articles which I mentioned. So you can look at a good example all the way across. El diccionario, los diccionarios, which both of those mean the. La computadora, las computadoras. Both mean the. 4 ways to say the. Just agrees with the noun. The indefinite, to say a, an, or some. So if the noun is plural, you're going to be saying some. You're going to use indefinite articles. And some of the activities in WebSam and in the Practica section of your work, it's going to say use indefinite articles or definite articles. Pay close attention to that, because it'll make you won't get the answers right if you use the wrong article. Okay, so here they are. The masculine singular to say is un. The plural is unos. The singular for feminine to say and then a feminine word is una, and the plural is unas. Okay, so let's look at a few examples. So then, again, make sure you pay attention in the instructions to what it's wanting you to do. So it says provide a definite article for each noun in the first column and an indefinite article for each noun in the second. So we have la chica. Which of those 4 up there do we need right here? El chico. Here, okay, this is a feminine word. It's singular, so la maleta. Here, it's a masculine word. We're looking at the ending. It's a masculine word and it's plural, so los cuadernos. Here, this one's hard to remember a little bit, so again with memorization, it's el lápiz. It's a masculine word. El lápiz. Mujeres, you know that mujer means woman, so it's feminine, and then it's plural, las mujeres. Over here, un autobús. Escuelas, feminine and plural, unas escuelas, some schools. Computadora, feminine and singular, una computadora. Hombres, you know, means man, and that's plural, so it's men, so unos hombres. Señora, singular, feminine, because it means Mrs., as in Señora Brooke, Mrs. Brooke. Señora, so it's going to be una señora, a lady. Lápices is masculine and plural, so unos lápices. Let's see if there's anything else to mention on 15. So look through these and decide singular or plural. Singular or plural. So you can look at the ending. Does it have an S? And then also look at the article. Will tell you is it singular or plural, and you can make it the opposite. So el número, plural, would be los números. Un diario would be unos diarios. La estudiante would be las estudiantes. El conductor, los conductores. El país, los países. Notice, if it's a definite article here, I'm using a definite article when I make it singular or plural, in this case plural. Here again, this is a definite article, so when I change it to singular, I'm going to stick with a definite article. So las cosas becomes la cosa. Okay? Alright, well that's the end of Lección 1.1. Adiós.